So when I saw the conference program last week, I was a little bit concerned. The reason is I saw my name was last right before dinner. So I think the audience must be too tired to hear my talk. Secondly, my talk is about China. You may also think about, maybe the topic totally irrelevant to the theme of the conference. So first of all, I want to assure that my talk may be a little bit relevant. As hearing many talks today, rising food prices and high unemployment rate are two pillars behind the recent Arab uprisings. So the unemployment issues is very, very challenging in this part of the world. Unemployment also has been always a big issue in China too. So I want to talk about a little bit experience in China, see whether we can share some lessons on the Arab region, MENA region. So also I want to give my talk using some in-depth case study instead of present numbers to give a little bit more entertaining. So the question is how China has become the world factories in just a few decades. You think about China in 30 years ago, China lacked all the necessary conditions prescribed by the mainstream development economics. The state banks didn't give any credit to private entrepreneurs, and the private ownership was not recognized until 2004. But if you look at the growth in the last three decades, the private sector played a key role in the Chinese economic growth, contribute about 70% of the GDP growth, the private sector. Among the private sector growth, 70% are attributable to the birth of new private firms. There are so many private firms have emerged, generating tremendous number of employment. So that's one reason China has avoided social unrest, despite the initial large pool of surplus labor. So the conventional thinking is always, for industrial development is that financial development is a prerequisite for development. Because in order to build a factory, purchase machinery, you need large amount of capital. So for individual, usually they don't have enough capital. They have to borrow from others. So financial development is key for industrial development. So this is a conventional thinking. And in this early afternoon talk by the IFPRI, talk about the rural finance. They talk about all the issues here. Even in MENA region, rural farmers, lack of access to finance. That's a big issue here too. So how China has overcome the problem? This is a major puzzle. So for industry development, like I said, I can use this graph to show that there are two possible paths. One is through financial development. So the banks can give credits to entrepreneurs so they can put resources, build big manufactories, and to achieve industrialization. Another path is China has experienced that through clustering, by dividing the production process into many steps, so individual entrepreneurs can participate in the non-farm sector. The idea is that if you go to China, right now you see so many specialized towns. For example, in Datang, produce 6 billion pairs of socks per year. It's just a small town. In Shenzhou, I visited last year, produced 40% world neckties. 20 years ago, didn't produce any tie. In Kyoto, there's another town, produce 70% of the buttons for clothes. And in Puyuan Township, I'm going to present in detail, made over 0.5 billion cashmere sweaters, accounting of about 60% of the Chinese market. So you see, cross-space, most of the production are specialized, concentrated in different places. And if you look at the growth in regional specialization, you see a rapid specialization over time. The horizontal line represents the degree of regional specialization in 1995. The vertical line represents the degree of specialization in 2004. The 45-degree line means there's no change in specialization, regional specialization. But you see most of the points fell above the 45-degree line, indicating Chinese regions become increasingly specialized over time. Now let me zero in to just one case. That Puyuan is the largest cashmere sweater cluster in China, in the world, I would say. It is located between the capital city of Zhejiang province, that is Hangzhou, and Shanghai. Shanghai is the largest city in China. So in '76, this town had only one collective-owned enterprise producing cashmere sweater. And then gradually, this industry started take off. So in 1988, I think it's a very key stage of development. The local government built up first marketplace along the main road between Hangzhou and Shanghai. The reason is simple. Over that time, there are many entrepreneurs who used to work for the collective firm, set up their own business and they produce sweater in their home, and then sold the cashmere sweaters along the main road. They always block the traffic, creating a big headache for the local government. The government couldn't chase them away. After they chased them away today, the second day they came back. Finally, they figured out a way to solve the problem. They set up some market stand along the road, putting a roof, and then bribed the traders to sell their clothes, sweaters, in the marketplace, just giving them incentive. So if you sell there, the rent is very low. Also, you can formally register. You can, in turn, get some maybe credit from the banks. In response, all the traders moved to the marketplace to pay a little bit rent. The government was happy too because they get all the revenues. And because the positive response, the government started to build more market places. Now they have built 4 big markets. And then suddenly the town becomes the center of the they call it sweater capital. So all the traders come over here to buy sweaters. And then in '94, the government further built a very large distribution center, logistics center. Now it hired more than 140,000 people. Most of them are migrant workers. So you see the rapid development generates so many employment. Now let's talk about the logic. Why this kind of model is more available for China, maybe more available for other countries with similar endowment, that is high population density and a low degree of financial development. When you produce a sweater, there are only 2 models. One, you can have a big modern manufactory, most having all the major stage of production done in-house under one roof, like the designing, weaving, assembling, dyeing, buttoning, ironing. You've done most of them in-house. Or you can outsource most of stage of production to others. Or you only do it by only a couple steps by yourself. That's the top one. So we are focused on the first type of mode of production, that is clustering-based model. This is not new. If you look at the early stage of Industrial Revolution in UK, Adam Smith described this model too. He called putting out system. The traders brought raw material designs to villages and distributed like the different individual workshops and farm households to conduct the production and then collect the final products. That's exactly what's happening in China. So let's show the photos. This, when you go there, you see that that's a market, the left photo. You see there, they have a brand names. If you work in, you see there, these are the entrepreneurs. They hand some samples, usually copying from the magazines, made a few samples. When traders come in, they place order. He only design this and then packaging this. For other stages, he outsources to others. But first, you see the layout of the market. That guy first buy the raw material, just make a phone call, get the raw material, and then deliver to the weaving workshop, and then go to the assembling, buttoning, and then the ironing, printing, and then come back. So all these are done by others. They're individually owned. It doesn't belong to him, but he just coordinates. So this is a market. So if you see this is the fourth phase of the market along the main road, and you can get the clothes, you buy everything there. For individual workshops, you can also go there. From outside, you want to recognize this factory. It's more like townhouses. But if you go to the first floor, second floor, there are workshops, sewing machine to put the button, 20 cents per button. And for those without any money, they still work on it. You need a pair of scissors to cut extra threads from the sweaters. They took this photo at 11 p.m. So you see people, all entrepreneurs, they all become entrepreneurs. They don't belong to anybody. So the story is, main story is simple. The clustering enabling many people to become entrepreneurs because it cut lower the entry barriers. You won't see any formal contracts. I surveyed 4 clusters, only saw most of the case. I see this kind of informal receipt. People value sometimes a lot by verbal contract, oral contract. And then you can see the degree of investment required for setting up a business. So if the big borderline, horizontal line means stand for the capital requirement for setting up a modern factory producing sweaters. And then all the other lines, the dots represent the capital requirement for different stage of production. You can see clearly by working in the cluster and engaging one step of the production, the cost of entry is much lower than setting up a big factory. Last point I want to point out, the reason why the cluster has developed so fast in China is because of the role of the local government. In China, the local government plays a very active role in fostering cluster development. As I pointed out earlier, setting up a marketplace, building up logistics centers, improving the infrastructure, like electricity access, road access. The government has done many things. Because of time constraint, I won't elaborate. So if you're interested, you can go to my website to download the papers which have much detailed description. I think in comparison, in many other parts of the world, local government played very little role in fostering local economic development. I've been to India, Ethiopia, Ghana. I talked to many local government officials. It seems they don't have much incentive to foster local development, like in China. So maybe that's one reason here the clusters have been there, but have not grown to the next step. Thank you.